Peace, family. It's your boy Gerald. It is the 22nd of May, 2020. How is everybody doing? It is Friday. You're getting ready to roll into your Memorial Day weekend. I hope wherever you are well, you are safe, performing, of course, social distancing, doing what's best for your health, even though not expecting others to have the same sentiment, because at the end of the day, we all have to do our part. But this video right here, I wasn't going to do it, but I feel it on my heart. And just looking at myself, I see all this gray that was not there when I had my locks, not even 4 weeks ago. I mean, I had it here and a little bit here. And I realized that a lot of this is because of me thinking, me really weighing pros and cons of life, always staying prayed up, always searching for the truth, but unconditionally trusting the Most High. But at the end of the day, we're spiritual beings, but we're mortals. We're humans. And I put a video out yesterday in regards to the main prowess was because yesterday was my daughter's 21st birthday, and how I made sure that I reached out to acknowledge not only the significance of that milestone, but also to acknowledge how important she is to me. And excuse me, the unconditional love that through the years I spent more time composing messages, and I would never get a response. And sometimes I would question, why do you do it? Why are you giving your energy to people that obviously don't care that you exist? And the truth of the matter is, at the end of the day, I'm a man. I'm a father. And I will never abandon that belief system. And this what breaks me. Wow, excuse me. Excuse me. This is the reason why I'm putting this out, because this is off the cuff. And I want to convey this to those that have earned the right to be called parents, as well as those who have yet to reach that milestone in their lives. You do understand that that is a thankless job. It is also going to cost every fiber of your being, because that's expected. But what's so troubling in 2020, there's so many examples of people that have been afforded the opportunity to be called parents that could care less. They could care less. And this is not a rant. Excuse my French. This is not a bitch session. This is truth. Or how I perceive it to be. And the point I'm trying to make is this. As you mature through life, of course, you're going to make decisions. Some are going to be based off of emotions. Others will be based off of circumstances. And then lastly, with insight of the experience, you will start to look at things objectively. But the one thing that I can never understand is you have King, I'm talking to you. You have fathers out there that could care less about their children. Care less. And it's shown in their behavior. And a lot of it is because they're working with the skill set that they have based off of prior experience or what is validated as truth. But you know what I've seen in those scenarios? You can't keep that child from their father. It seems like the more and more they don't want to have nothing to do with you, the more and more they want to be there. And then in the contrary, you have that father that wants nothing more to be present, because it is a present to witness the growth and the development of that child. Because let's keep it 100. There's a lot of misconceptions going on in the world. And a lot of times you will hear the mom, because you only have one mother, the ownership, because she is the vessel. She goes through the incubation stage of preparing the child for this life. So you will hear, that's my child. That's my baby. And then the father takes a back seat. But the irony of it all is this. Without that father, there would not be no child. So that's why it's very important to be mindful of the company you keep. To ask the questions, to have the conversation, to see if that person shares the same direction as you do. Now, let's be honest. You got a lot of fake it to make it people in this world. You do. And you got a lot of people that will use their opportunity to exploit a certain set outcome. But every child deserves to have their parents in their lives. Because guess what? Just from a scientific standpoint, 23 chromosomes comes from the father, 23 chromosomes come from the mother to create a blessing. And I'm a firm believer sometimes, because you know, God he's the ultimate comedian. He will bring he'll allow two people to come together. A child is conceived, which is a miracle, to show you the greatest aspects of both said parents. The child is the validation of what is great. But this is not about fairy tales and puppy dogs, because there is responsibility. And I've noticed through the years how we've seen scenarios of, if you don't give me what I want, I will take away what you need. But the one thing, what we're not talking about, is materialism. Because guess what? You ain't taking it with you. Doesn't matter what you are able to possess, it stays here. That's why they have estate sales. That's why they have wills. And depending on the value of what it represents, depends on the longevity it will stay in that family lineage. But you know what's so troubling? Because I've seen this play out too. I've seen scenarios where, depending on the relationship of the father, which will validate the care of the child. How many times have you seen that? Why do you think there is sibling nepotism, sibling rivalries? Somebody is the golden child, the other is the scapegoat. Happens. Because the one thing that a child will never do, will never be afforded, is to know the story of their parents. You will only get one filtered, vetted interpretation. Because you are so dependent on the influence and the activity being projected from your parents. If your father does not love himself, he's not going to love you. If your mother has insecurities, she's going to project that on you. Because that's how we learn. We mimic by way of repetition, but till it becomes a pattern, and then the pattern will eventually evolve into said behavior. But this does not give the father a pass. This requires the father to go deep and be the personification of what manhood is all about. Why am I saying this, Gerald? Because at the end of the day, you have to be honest with yourself. There's no such thing as faking it to make it when it comes to you. You have to make a conscious decision on how you want to navigate your life and the things that are connected to your life. You're going through some hardship. Acknowledge you are. Be truthful with yourself and make a concise decision on how you're going to change it. Now, the worst thing that you could ever do as a parent is to project your insecurities on a child, and then that child takes those said insecurities, and that becomes the perceptions on how they're going to navigate their life. Do you realize how much damage you have done because of a place of fear, a place of control, a place of non-accountability? Now, granted, how are you going to do this? I know a lot of times people get in relationships and it's fly by night. You may have detected something in that person in that moment that allowed you to feel vulnerable. And you said it'll be okay. Hey, I get it. There's a lot of wolves in sheep's clothing walking around. And that's why we have evolved as a people. And that's why we have DNA tests. But King, I say this to you. No matter the circumstance, you got to check your ego at the door so you can protect your lineage. Now, granted, there's a lot of moms out there that have yet to earn the right to be called mother because of the fact that they still do not know who they are. I'm a firm believer. You don't understand who you are until you're fortunate to see the age of 35. Now, I know there's going to be some people that are going to disagree with this, but I'm telling you right now, the mindset that you have now in your 20s are not going to be the same focus that you have in your 30s. They're not. Your viewpoints are going to change. Your friendships are going to change. Your directions and goals are going to change. May it be because of you're tired of being tired, or you're truthful to yourself and you see the potential of your natural gifts and talents. But guess what? Why do you think generational curses exist? Because we choose to hold on to a certain belief system because it works. Because you won't get any pushback. Because it's easy. But anything worth value is not easy. And the hardest thing that you're going to ever bestow from you is loving someone that maybe doesn't know how to love themselves. Now, that is why it's so important that every little girl have a relationship with her father. Now, granted, there's a lot of good dads out there that they know they don't need no DNA test. They know that at the moment in time they were given the gift and responsibility of rearing a child. I happen to be one of them. That was a nuance that played out in my life for the last 17 years. Did I go out set off? Did I go and set out to get in a relationship that was pre-established? No, I'm single. I'm responsible through maturity. But just guess what? It was a blessing. Because once again, to be able to watch a child grow and come into their own and know that you had something to do with it, it's humbling. It's humbling. And it's a gift. And I'm saying this for a couple reasons. You guys know my story. Been on YouTube since 2011. Came on this channel, established channel. I was a broken man. Heart broke. Couldn't understand why was I getting in all these dysfunctional relationships when the truth of the matter is I just wanted to be loved. And it wasn't until I embraced my spirituality, my spiritual walk, and I realized through this what was going to be shown, taught me to see the value of my self-worth, taught me to see value in my time. Now give me 1 second. I got to take care of something real quick. I'll be right back. All right. Thank you for your patience. I'm right here. You just can't see me. There you go. Give me 1 sec. Okay, cool. I'm putting this out there because of the fact that you always got people saying, I'm being real, but then they're not real to themselves. And yes, I know that we're in a pandemic, but let's be honest. The greatest pandemic the society has to deal with, I know my soup coolers are not working, is the attack on the family structure. Society has pushed a narrative for the last 45 years, teaching you queens, you don't need no man. You don't need one. But guess what? You're supposed to come into your own, but guess what? You're not supposed to do it by yourself. That's what they don't want you to know. And this goes back from the establishment of social services. Because even with that, they tell you right off the bat, you can't be in a relationship, because if you do, I'm gonna take government money away from you. But that is not supposed to be something that is supposed to be inherited to the next generation, but it exists. Why we don't question that? But you know what's sad? What's really sad is you have a lot of good men out there that want nothing more but to be involved in their children's lives. Now, I can understand if it was a scenario where that was a conscious decision because the mom, the family unit was not appreciated or put at risk. Then you have to do what's best for you. Hope that paternal father will mature and see the errors of his ways. But then you have some people that have been so broken, fragmented, and all they want to do is live a good life. And they're just as disenfranchised because they never, everything that they've ever had, they've had to fight for, you know. And it's sad. That's really, really sad. You know, it's like you never see, it's always you queens that have to go through so much unnecessarily. You know, you shouldn't have to. I mean, we as people make our own problems for ourselves. You know, I don't get it. I truly don't. And, you know, as I said before, you know, it wasn't until December that God revealed that I have a son. I have a son. I'm going to do the DNA. Haven't done it yet. Been sitting on the DNA test for almost 3 months. Sitting on my dresser. It's not that I'm afraid to do it. I'm convinced he is. Because every time I look at him, I see myself. Down to his mannerisms. He's a handsome man. And he has a world in front of him. My daughter too. And I'm going to tell you what, it breaks my heart sometimes to know that, you know, it really feels like emotional prison. It does. Because you got people that don't give a damn. Don't give a damn. Don't. And then you have those that would give their last breath so that they can't. For example, y'all heard the story about Shad. He used to be with the WWE. He was a tag team called Crime Time. Heart goes out to him and his family. But that's what a father is supposed to do. That's what a father's supposed to do. And, you know, it's just sad. I'm not up on here trying to for y'all to feel sorry. What I am trying to do is we got to take ownership and responsibility when we are afforded the opportunity to be called parents. Either emotionally or biologically. If you've earned that right, you're supposed to treasure that. And if you're not ready to be a parent, do the responsible thing. Protect yourself, not only for the diseases out here, but for fathering a child you're not ready for that responsibility. But it hurts. It does hurt, fam, because a mother has so much influence on the rearing of their child. And to be vindictive, to turn the child's viewpoint against the one person that is going to protect his, you know that comes back, right? But what's sad is you can't get back that time. You realize look, that's why I got these. If y'all knew how many tears I cried, how many letters I wrote, just to let them know, hey, it's okay. I might not be there with you, but I'm thinking about you. Not a day goes by. Not a day goes by that I wonder, what is life like? What are you seeing? Who is in your world? Are you safe? Are you okay? That's what a father does. And now that God has afforded me the fact that I may have a son, 7 years older, because his birthday is July 22nd. I hope he affords me the opportunity to have a relationship with him too. But as long as I've got air in my lungs, as long as I can cognitively think, I can pray, I can believe, and I know none of this is in vain. Kings, if you're not in your kid's life or child's life, get off your high horse. Do everything you got to do to get in your child's life. And when they're ready, they'll open the door. But it's got to be sincere. If you hold grudges because of the mother, guess what? You got to eat that. You got to eat that, because guess what? You chose them. They chose you. And a blessing between the two of you was a result of it. If they have moved on, don't get mad. Be grateful that there's somebody in their lives that is taking care of your responsibility. I see that on social media. You see guys out there like, no, the most disrespectful thing you could ever do as a man is call the mother of your child baby mama. You might as well call them a slut. Excuse my French. But what you don't realize is you're disrespecting yourself, because they're an extension not only of your growth, but forever connected to your life. You can't change that. I don't care how much reinventing you try to do, how much denial that you have. Guess what? You do understand eventually that child's going to stand before you and they're going to ask you that $1 million question. Why wasn't you there? And you know what's on the other side of that? Their heart. So be honest. Because that's when the healing will begin on the other side of them. Oh, there are going to be some tears. There are going to be some tears. I already know the moment I'm able to see my baby girl, I'm going to be weak. Because this is long time overdue. And when the opportunity comes and I'm able to finally meet Alex and stand before him, whatever he wants to know based off of what I know, I'm an open book. But I've always been that way. There is no dirt on me. I'm just a guy that wanted to be loved and represented mine to the fullest. That's what being a man's all about. And if you ain't ready for it, be honest. Be responsible. Because guess what? We live in a world, and let's be honest with this. Most women, they already know what you're about from the first hello. They already decided if you're going to have an interlude with them from the first 5 seconds of you meeting them. So the excuse of something just happened, it takes a cause and effect. I've been on my soapbox too long. If you get anything from this family, just know this. It's never too late. Just make sure you're standing on the other side of that door that's open. And eventually when the time is right, your child or children will be standing on the other. Just make sure the distance and the time is justified for that. Because I get tired of people saying, oh, it was a mistake. It was a mistake. You're disrespecting your name when you do that. But queens, the worst thing that you ever can do is turn your child against the father of that child. That's the worst thing. Because guess what's going to happen? They're going to gravitate to what they think is safety, even if it's negative. And they're going to end up becoming what you don't want. Protect them, even from themselves. You guys have a safe and blessed Memorial Day weekend. Please social distance and be safe out there on the highways and byways, because unfortunately we live in a world where people don't give a damn if you're out there, because they don't give a damn about themselves. Be blessed.